Let's look at some examples of good use of variety in photo packages. This is something that got brought up in our key basics presentation, the idea that you need to diversify certain things in different photos as a part of a larger photo story. So let's look at some past student examples that have popped up in this class in past semesters that students have done a really good job on. Just as a reminder, you need to vary 3 different things about your shots as you go through your photo stories. So as you're out in the field taking pictures, keep in mind that you need a good diversity of shots in the following 3 areas. 1, you need to vary up distance, and that is how close you are to the subject you're taking a picture of. This can be close shots, medium shots, crash shots, which are close up on the face of the subject, or far distance shots that capture a scene or setting. You also need to vary up the angle. Now this is how high or low you are compared to the subject. So if you climb up on a chair or a ladder and shoot down, that would be a high angle. If you crouch down or get on the ground and shoot up, that would be a low angle. Or if you're at the eye height angle of the subject, that would be sort of a mid-range. You want to vary that up. You also want to vary the setting. You want to vary where you are taking pictures of. This can maybe be something that you can't actually change. Let's say you are doing a photo story that occurs inside of a coffee shop. Now you're not going to really be able to do much outside of the coffee shop, but you want to vary up, for example, what's in the background. Maybe have some shots that are facing the kitchen, maybe have some shots from the kitchen facing out over the counter. Maybe have some in the little area where people are sitting. Maybe have some in the back in the storeroom where people are getting some stuff out that they'll need for customers. The idea is largely to not have the same stuff in the background in every single shot. So the reason why you want to vary these 3 things is because of a very simple reason. And that is, if you have a photo story where you are the exact same distance from the subject for all of the photos, every single shot is a medium shot, and every single shot is at eye level with the subject, and every single shot has the same background behind it or is in the same setting, you will make an incredibly boring photo story. No one will want to look at it, and then I will fall asleep while grading it. And you don't want to have that happen. So let's look at some examples. I pulled 2. The first one is a photo story of an event. It was an event where former Vice President Joe Biden came to speak in the area, and so a student went and took pictures of it. And so the temptation would be to just have all of the photos be of Joe Biden on stage talking. He's the famous one after all. He's the reason why you're there. But the problem is that makes for a really boring photo story. And so the photo story was more about the hoopla, more about the act of going and covering it. So we start off with the line of TV cameras in the back. There's a bunch of TV cameras back there. I like the natural line this produces, starting from the up close to far away as the cameras get smaller. You almost create a natural line that way. But that's not an obvious start point, right? It's starting with the setting up of the media cameras in the back. And I really liked that this was a unique, interesting way to start off the photo story. From there, we got a little bit of a distant shot of the news interviewing another politician on the other side of the room. I like that you can see the cameras that are sort of pinpointing the person, the 2 cameras, 3 cameras actually, 1, 2, 3, as well as the sound boom mic that comes in on the top of the photograph. I like that a lot. Now this is a close-up details shot. This is not really anybody's discernible face, but it's a camera slung over somebody's hip. You can tell this is a shot that's taken from a low angle because of the fact that we are sort of at the person's hip or butt level and are pointing up. I really like that this is a nice close-up, almost crash detail shot that is shot from a low angle. It breaks the variety up in this story nicely. So now we get what we're actually here for. We get our distance shot of Joe Biden up on the stage. I like that we can see the tops of heads at the bottom, so we get a sense of the crowd. And that's really what we're here for. We wouldn't want to exclude this photograph. And then we wrap it up with an eye-level, distant shot of Joe Biden in the crowd. And I really like the way this is framed. We have the multiple heads all around Joe Biden that sort of frame his face right in the middle. And for me, the first photograph and the third photograph, that really tight detail shot of someone's camera, helps break up this story from being a bunch of distant shots of Joe Biden to being a nice, diverse photo story that's got some variety to it. Now let's look at an example number 2. This is from a photo story that a student did looking at a mechanic shop. Namely, it was a mechanic shop that does a lot of engine repair. And so we start things off with a medium shot. This is about roughly waist up. Medium shot, or sort of between a medium and a close shot. It's an eye-level shot, and it's a guy sort of hoisting part of an engine from the storage area over to a car. We then go immediately to a crash shot, a very close-up detail shot of the person's hand sitting on a car. I think the reason why this is good for a mechanics story, a photo story looking at mechanics, is that mechanics have specific hands. They're greasy, they're going to have grease and dirt under their fingernails. They're resting on the hood of a car. You can see part of the engine in the background. It's a really good, diverse use of a close shot. Now we have another sort of a close shot, but I really artistically like the way that this is done, where you can see the close details on the car part. You see the rust, you see the metal, you see the little notches and dents in it. The person is identifiable, and it's actually kind of a close shot of the person, but because they're behind that part of the car, they're a little bit out of focus, and it gives the photo a good sense of depth. And I really, really like that. I like that you can see the sweat on the person's face. It gives a sense of the fact that it's hot in there, that it's a hot mechanic shop where it's probably not entirely comfortable to be in all the time. So we've already had a medium shot, we've got a crash shot, we've got a close shot. So what do we need? Well, let's go for a little bit more distance. Let's go more of a farther out medium shot. And now we've got our mechanic leaned up against a car. He's using his phone to call in and have some parts ordered. I like the lines that are created, and really just I like the fact that this adds a sense of diversity to the shot. Also that the tail light is pulled out of that car that he's sort of got his foot up on. That makes me laugh a little bit. And finally we bring it back around to a close-up shot of him looking into an engine. I like that unlike the others, this one is dark, lighting-wise, and he's got the flashlight out where he's looking into the engine compartment. As a storytelling aspect of it, I really like that this one is darker because it gives a sense that this is the full progress of a day, that the sun has gone down, it's nighttime outside now, but he is still at work in this shop. And I just really like it. So we've gone, if you've noticed, through multiple levels of closeness to the subject, from being very, very close up, almost a crash shot on their hand on the car, to the distant shot of them ordering the parts, to the medium shots of them close up working. It's a good example of using diverse angles, diverse distance, and diverse settings to make for a really interesting photo story. Whereas if it was all just medium shots from the exact same angle, it would probably be pretty boring. But good thing it's not. So I look forward to seeing what diversity and what variety you come up with in your photo stories.